This is the Expressive Word demo, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to hit our Command Option Control Shift. If you're on a PC, you can hit Control Alt Shift, and we're going to hold those down and we're going to open Illustrator. Just keep holding those down so we can reset our preferences. Once we're at our home page, what I'd like for us to do is go up to the left corner and hit New File. We are going to go to Print in the middle here. And once we're at our print document, I'd like for us to change on the right side our points to inches. We're going to change it to a 6x6 document, like I specify in our project. And we're going to have 2 artboards. And let's change the title to Expressive Word Demo. And we're going to hit Create. Once we have our documents up here, what I'd like for us to do is go to our window up at the top and make sure we are in our typography workspace. And once we're in our typography workspace, I'd also like for us to go to our Illustrator up at the top, and we're going to go to Settings, and we're going to change it from General. We're going to go to Type right here. And then at the bottom here, we're going to click on Fill New Type Objects with Placeholder Text. We don't want the placeholder text, so I'd like for you to click off that box. We're going to hit OK. And once we're done with that, we're going to start doing our exercises. The first one I'd like to do is transition. So on the left side, I'm going to grab my type tool. You can hit T on your keyboard if you'd like to grab your type tool quicker. And we're going to type trans. You can hit Command-Shift-A to deselect, or you can just click with your arrow key and open space. And we're going to hit ITION. And that should give us our parts to our word transition. Now, obviously, we're going to experiment with how to express with this word. And notice I have all my snap tools on and everything. I'm going to go to View up here, and I'm going to turn off my Smart Guides. And I'm going to also scroll down and turn off my snap to point. And that way I can move this around more freely. Now, I'd like to make these larger. So I'm going to select a marquee around both of them. I'm going to hold my Shift key and make them larger. So for this project, we're going to be choosing Futura Heavy as our typeface. Now I'd like for us to select our text and make sure that we are selecting our character tool at the top. And I'd like for you to type in Futura. And we should have our typefaces on there from our last time we did Futura PT. And let's go to Futura Heavy. And this is the font we will be using. Now there's interesting ways we can play with these. For example, I could have transition, kind of transitioning from one side to the other. There are other ways that we can deal with how to express transition. For example, we could deal with scale. Now, one thing that's important to remember when we're dealing with scale, in this particular project, I do not want you to stretch text. For example, we don't want to stretch text. We want to identify this typeface as Futura Heavy. So that is not something we want to do. So I don't want you to expand the letters at all. If you're going to do that, you have to do it manually. What I'd like for us to do is kind of deal with scale here. So if we hold our Shift key, you can see if we have a small trans up at the top here, how it would transition into something large. Now we could also deal with transition by duplicating text. Let's pull out another one. I'm just going to duplicate this one here. I'm going to copy and paste it. Command C, Command V. And let's say we want to inverse it. So if I hit my Control, I hit Transform, and I hit Reflect, and I hit OK. That way I could say transition, and maybe I would connect it over here. And so there's different ways for us to make this word expressive. And maybe for this one, I would, take this off the canvas, and this would be my expressive word here. And we can hold our Shift key down. And again, I don't want us to stretch text at all. So that is very important. All right. For our next one, I'd like for us to do is Now for the next one, I'd like for us to grab our type tool. I'm just going to hit T on my keyboard, and I'm going to click into open space, and I'm going to type disruption. And I'm going to make this larger. And our goal right now is to disrupt this word. Now, we can affect this word by duplicating it, or one way to deal with it is by creating outlines and physically disrupting the text. So that's what I'm going to do with mine. So what I'd like for us to do is right click or hit Control, and I'd like for us to hit Create Outlines right here. If you're not good with creating outlines, you can go to Type at the top, and you can hit Create Outlines, or you can hit Command-Shift-O. So what I'd like for us to do is kind of chop this up a bit. And I'm going to use my eraser tool, and I'm going to make my eraser tool really small. And you can hit your bracket tool to make the tool small. You can also change it at the top. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of make it kind of a wobbly line here. So I have this into parts. Now when you see this, you'll notice that it moves around as one object. What we can do is click on it, and if we right click or control click, we can ungroup it. Or if you're somebody who doesn't like the right click tool, I'm going to hit Command Z back there. You can go to Object and you can go to Ungroup. And that should ungroup it. And what I'm going to do is take the top part of this word and select that and kind of shift that up. So you can see it's more of a disruption. Just make sure that when we're dealing with text that we make it more legible. We don't want it to be completely hard to read. So that's looking pretty good to me. Let's do one more. Let's do one more of disruption to see which one we like the best. So I'm going to type disruption again. And what I'd like for us to do for disruption is I'm going to make it larger. To make text larger, it's Control-Shift greater than on a PC, but Command-Shift greater than on a Mac. And you can make it less than or greater than, and that makes your text larger. And what I'd like for us to do on this is I'd like for us to break it up with a straight line. A lot of people are like, well, how do I do a straight line? We can use a eraser tool again. And again, we have to create outlines. We can hit Command-Shift-O to create outlines. Or we can go up to Type and create outlines there, right here. Or you can right-click and create outlines. So what I'd like for us to do is hold our Shift key with our eraser, and we're going to just go across. And that way we can divide it. Now I'm going to divide it into 3 parts. And again, I'd like to ungroup this. Now remember, we can ungroup it by right-clicking or control-clicking and hitting ungroup, or we can go to Object and hit ungroup right there. And what we're going to do is I'm going to regroup them into sections. So you hit Command G or Control G if you're on a PC, and hit Command G to group them. And I'm going to hit Command G on the middle section. And you can mess with disrupting this word. Now, I don't know which one I like better, but it'd be kind of neat to make it look like it's falling. But remember, we need to still make it legible. Again, you could really get wild with this, and let's say I duplicate this, and you could start messing with how this is disrupted. So this is all up to you. And the last one I'm going to just do one more artboard just to kind of show y'all what to do. We're going to make one more artboard here. For this last one, let's do elimination. So let's do it in lowercase too. Maybe we'll do EL, and then I'm going to hit Command-Shift-A or Control-Shift-A if you're on a PC. Hit my I here, and then hit Command-Shift-A or Control-Shift-A, and I'll just keep and And maybe I'll hit my ON at the end. So maybe we'll do something like this, where it's and maybe we'll have another I in here. So we'll make it, these are kind of falling out. And maybe we'll make them gradually get smaller, so they don't look like they're the same. In the case of this, you can use your align tool to kind of align things. For example, if I go to align up at the top, I select all of my text at the top. I can go to my align tool and I can set it at a baseline so that all of these kind of appear to be in space. Now this is looking pretty good. So we have 3 basic examples. We only need 2 for our final. And when we're doing these, I don't want you to keep all of these experiments on here. I want you to choose one. I'm thinking the curvy one looks the best, so I would keep that one on there. And kind of center it, make it look appropriate. And yep, this is how I would do my final. And how you would save your file, we go to File, Save As, and I'd save it onto your computer. And instead of an AI document, I want you to save it as a PDF. And we want to save all. I noticed some people saving, individual documents. We want to save all. That way we'll have all of our artboards. And I want to save this to my desktop. And I'm going to save it and hit Save PDF. And now when I take a look at my document here in Acrobat, you can see my experiments. And that is it for this demo. Good luck, and post these to Canvas. Take care.